Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to KARMA's webinar. My name is Ken, and I'm the product educator at KARMA. I will also be your moderator for today. Thank you for joining us. Before we start, let's just make sure everyone can see and hear clearly. If you have any question or problem during this webinar, please just type to us using the chat box. We will send in any materials from this webinar, including the recording afterwards, so you can just sit back and relax. Just one thing to remind everyone, please mute during this webinar. If you have any question, you can just leave it in the chat box. We will use the time during the Q&A session to answer them. If we cannot answer all the questions online, we will give you feedback by email. Some of you might be unfamiliar with KARMA, this brand, so I will use this short time to give a brief introduction about KARMA. KARMA is the world-leading wheelchair manufacturer based in Taiwan. Our mission is to bring more joy and love for life to those with physical disability around the world. We offer not only lightweight manual wheelchair for the elderly, but also we offer high-end power wheelchairs for users with advanced disabilities. We make a great effort to provide a total mobility solution for our clients. Right now, KARMA has more than 30-year experience of designing and manufacturing wheelchairs. We have distributed our products to over 40 countries around the globe. What we are most proud of is that we have never received any insurance claims. We have international awards for product design. The EVO Lectures, we won the IF Design Award, and the EVO Altus, we won the Radar Award. We have the strictest quality control standards for our products, which comply with the global quality and safety requirements. I hope this brief introduction gives you a better understanding of who KARMA is. Now we will move on to talk about today's agenda. In this presentation, our plan is to talk to you for about 45 minutes, with some time in the end for a question. In this webinar, you will learn more about KARMA's 3 high-end power wheelchairs. That is EVO Lectures, MID Lectures, and EVO Altus. How this ergonomic seating system can meet the end user's need, and how this power sitting and standing function can help the user to achieve an independent life. We will also use a live product demo to let you better understand the chair functions. Next, let me introduce today's speaker, Helen Robinson. Helen is an occupational therapist with over 20-year experience of working in pediatrics, initially in the NHS system, and for the last 7 years, she has been working independently. Her experience includes assessment of sitting and posture, recommendation for housing adaptation, assessment and treatment of children with cerebral palsy and brain injury. We are really excited to have Helen as our speaker today. Okay, so I think right now, let's hand you over to Helen. Hello, Helen.
Hi, Ken. Thanks so much for the introduction. Welcome, everybody. So as Ken explained, my name is Helen Robinson. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. I've been an OT for over 20 years. But I started off in the NHS, but in the last 7 years, I've gone into independent practice. In the last 6 to 7 years, I was introduced to smart wheelchairs, and they've really helped me find the best solution for my clients in terms of their postural mobility, particularly with the range of KARMA EVO wheelchairs. So today, as Ken explained, we're going to look at 3 wheelchairs, all powered. First one is the EVO Lectus. Next will be the EVO MID Lectus. And lastly, we'll be looking at the EVO Altus. And what I'm going to be doing is just discussing the functions of the wheelchair and the benefits to the client. Just through my recent experience, I found that KARMA wheelchairs fit the wheelchair to the client. And what I mean by that is that they are fully adjustable. There's so many options. And it means that we can make really specific modifications to the wheelchair to make it personal to the client and their needs. So, without hesitation, we will start with the first wheelchair, which is our EVO Lectus, which will be demonstrated by Poppy. So the EVO Lectus is a front-wheel drive wheelchair. Poppy, could you just turn to the side for me, just so that we can see the wheels? What we mean by front-wheel drive is that the big drive wheels are at the front of the wheelchair, and these are the first wheels to come up with any obstacles, and it pulls the chair over any bumps or lumps. Thank you, you can turn back now. What this means is the chair has got really good traction. It's perfect for outdoors. It's good on rough ground, and it can manage small curbs, steps without any bother. It has got a fully adjustable suspension, which means it makes it a smooth ride for the client. It gives comfort when you're driving. The batteries and fuses are really easy to change, and what the real benefit of this chair is that you don't need to transfer the client out of the chair to make those changes. It's really stable. There is a central seat post, which means it's really sturdy. It can also be fitted with rear bumper wheels, meaning particularly for a newer user, it glides through doors and down hallways without bumping or scratching skirting boards. So what does this chair do? Well, it's got power lift. It's also got power tilt, and it's also got power relax and lying facility. The seat. We've got loads of options for the seat. The aim is to achieve optimal seating position for the client. There's lots of choice for lateral supports, pelvic supports and headrests, along with a range of harnesses and belts. You can really adapt it to the client's own specific needs. If a client is using their own seating system on another chair, that can also be interchanged and be used on this power base too. So now we'll look a bit deeper into the functions and benefits. We're going to start with lift. Poppy will demonstrate the chair in lift. Why is lift important in a wheelchair? And I think the top answer to that is that it improves a client's independence. I think we take for granted how easy we can just walk into a kitchen, grab something from a top shelf of a cupboard, top shelf of a fridge. We can open windows, we can open doors without any bother. But for somebody without lift in a wheelchair, those functions are impossible. And what that means is sometimes clients have to spend a fortune on housing adaptations, making sure that they've got kitchen cupboards that can be pulled down, or restricting themselves to just under-counter fridges or freezers. Lift just makes that a little bit more easy, life a little bit more easy. For clients that are going to school, college or university or a workplace, think about the times where there's high benching or high desks, like food technology or a science classroom. Benches are often higher. And for a client without lift in a wheelchair, it means that they're at a lower level to everyone else. That's rubbish for their inclusion. It's rubbish for their social interaction. They feel isolated. Being able to lift means that they're at eye level with their peers and they can join in so much better. Bringing yourself up in lift also means that we can have eye contact with each other. A wheelchair without lift means the person in the wheelchair is constantly looking up at everybody else. When you're out and about in the community, think about all the buildings that you go into with high reception desks. For example, hotels, bars, shops, even at home in somebody else's like a kitchen, like a breakfast bar. Lift means you're accessible. You can greet the person behind the desk at eye level. Again, when you're out and about in the community, when you're crossing roads or if you're in crowds, imagine how claustrophobic that would feel to be quite low down in a crowded area. Being able to lift yourself up means you've got better visibility, you can cross roads safer, and you can be at eye level with other people around you. Transfers is also another really important feature of lift, because what it means is you can adjust the height of the wheelchair to whatever the height of what you're transferring into. So whether that be a bed, a toilet or a chair, you adjust yourself to that height. And that means that transfers are a lot safer. And it means that you may not have to purchase and carry with you transfer boards, pieces of equipment that help you. And it also means that you may need less care to help with that transfer. The next function we're going to look at with the Lectus is tilt. And again, I pose the question, well, why would you want tilt in a wheelchair? When we're transferring somebody into a wheelchair, for me, the most important thing is we get their posture right. And the transfer in is key. So by using tilt, what we're actually doing is using gravity to get that pelvis right the way back at the back of the chair. It really helps that transfer in. And throughout the day, some clients may need constant repositioning. Again, being able to tilt, let gravity help, it means that the client could maybe shift themselves back a little bit easier and do it for themselves, rather than being rehoisted and readjusted the whole time. If clients are fatigued, maybe they're finding their sit-in tolerance isn't very long, they struggle to keep their head up, just being able to tilt the wheelchair back gives them that breathing space, ability to rest. You can also sleep in this position, it's quite comfortable. A client with a progressive or degenerative condition, it might mean that some weeks their sit-in tolerance is really good, other weeks not so good. Having tilt just means that they can adapt and change the length of time that they sit for. Tilt might also be on a client's postural management plan. So maybe physios might suggest that long periods of sit-in is not beneficial for the client, and actually they need a bit of a change in position. Change of position also helps pressure relief. So when we're sitting upright, all the pressure is going through the bottom of our pelvis. Being able to tilt redistributes that pressure. It means that the pressure is spread over our head, our back and our legs. And that larger surface area helps to prevent pressure sores. What it also does is elongates the spine. It gives us a nice straight spine, allowing more space for our internal organs. The other function with the Lectus is power relax or lie down. Again, why would we want to lie down in a wheelchair? Well, first one, you can sleep. You could use it for sunbathing, stargazing, or if you need to recover from a sudden illness. But what it also does is it allows really good access for carers to attend to personal care. I know that changing places are growing more and more and more, but if you're not lucky enough to have a changing place near you, you may need the lie down function of the Lectus to help with nappy change, pad change, to adjust clothing, to put a sling under, take a sling out. To access the peg feed, change the catheter, or even to administer rectal medication for epilepsy. Everything is made easier in a lying down position. What it also does is we're coming back to pressure. So it takes that pressure off the sit bones. Again, it allows our hips to stretch. We get nice stretch in our hip flexors. And lying could also be part of a postural management plan. What it also does is it might reduce the need for bed transfers because you're already in a lying down position. But if you did need to transfer to a bed, this position would aid that transfer because you're already in a lying down position. Poppy, thank you so much for helping with that demo. Poppy's going to sit herself back up now, and then we'll look at our next wheelchair. So our next wheelchair is the EVO, I'll wait till she's gone, the EVO MID Lectus. And this will be demonstrated by Ellen. In comes Ellen. Okay. So the EVO MID Lectus is very similar to the Lectus that we've just seen, but you will notice that there's a difference on the wheels. Brilliant, Ellen, thank you very much. So on this wheelchair, this is a mid-wheel drive wheelchair, and that means the big drive wheels are there in the middle of the wheelchair. And what that does, it means that it has a really stable base. There are 6 wheels to give it a lot of stability. It's perfect for tight angles, and it can turn on its own axis. Okay, so Ellen's going to demonstrate how we turn it round. So pull to the one side, that's it. That's it. Well done, well done. So Ellen is going round. So what this wheelchair does is it has such a tight turning circle, perfect for indoor spaces, perfect for tight corners. It helps to reduce accidents of crashing and bumping. Well done, that's brilliant, stop there. It's really good for new drivers because it's so easy to drive. And of course, if you've got a new attendant pushing you, it's easy for them too. It has really good front suspension, so it will manage, although I say it's more of an indoor chair, it has really good suspension and it can manage small climbs and inclines without a bother. It's perfect for clients that spend a lot of time at home, at school, at colleges or in a workplace. This chair also does exactly the same features as the Lectus that we just saw. So it will lift, it will tilt in space, and it will lie down. We don't need to go through the benefits of those because we've just done those. Ellen, thank you so much. Would you like to head that way now? Well done. And what we're going to do now is introduce our final wheelchair, which is the EVO Altus. Now this is our standing wheelchair. Brooke is demonstrating this chair for us. You need to come a little bit closer, Brooke. Perfect, and turn towards that way. Well done. Okay, stop there, that's lovely. So the Altus, again, same as the Lectus, is a front wheel drive. So it's got those big power drive wheels at the front. It does the same function as what we've just seen. It lifts, it tilts, brilliant. It relaxes, but it also stands. You can just relax there a minute, Brooke. Yeah, don't worry. Again, there's lots of options for seating and positioning, just like we've mentioned with the laterals, with the pelvic supports, and with the headrest. It lifts, it tilts, it lies. The other thing that the Altus does, it has a really low floor to seat height, which makes it perfect if clients are still driving and they want to drive in their adapted vehicle, or as a passenger. It helps with head height. So standing. Brooke, are we able to demonstrate standing? That's great. So it doesn't mean that our clients have to stand bolt upright. Off you go, you can demonstrate it for us. When we say standing, it means that really it's anything between sitting and standing. Anywhere in between, that's absolutely fine. There's loads of health benefits for standing, and I'm going to run through those. So as we stand, we increase our lung volume, because we talked about that elongation of the spine. Our breath control is easier, and we have increased blood flow and circulation. It's also really good for our digestive system. It helps our bowel function, also helps our urinary function, and there are reports that we can have reduced urinary tract infections when regular standing. As you can see, Brooke is weight bearing. Now we know that standing increases our bone density. It aims for stronger bones. We know that sitting for long periods increases tone and contractures. Standing stretches everything and helps to reduce tone. Again, with pressure, the pressure has been taken off the pelvis and is now distributed through the arms, through the hips, through the knees and through the feet. If you want to sit back down, that's absolutely fine, Brooke. Well done. What standing in a wheelchair also provides is two pieces of equipment in one. So a lot of children that I see and other clients have their wheelchair, but they may also have a standing frame. Well, this is in effect those two pieces of equipment in one. But having two pieces of equipment obviously means added expense. And also you need loads of storage space to be able to house those two pieces of equipment, which get bigger as the client grows at home, also at school where space is limited. Having this, as you saw, Brooke demonstrated that perfectly independently. She didn't need my support at all. But if a child was, or a client was transferring from their chair into a standing frame, they must most definitely require support from an adult to help with that transfer. And also when a client is in a standing frame, they're very static. They have to be pushed where they want to go, where this wheelchair, when it's in a standing position, can also drive. And that leads me on to, again, social inclusion. Having a wheelchair that stands and moves just means that you can go for a walk with friends and family. You can be at the same eye contact with them. A standing wheelchair isn't for all diagnosis, so it isn't suitable for all clients, and particularly those with a degenerative condition is probably not appropriate. But as OTs, you would discuss that with the client and work out whether it's going to be clinically appropriate. And for standing wheelchairs, we'd always recommend a bone density scan just to ensure that the bones are strong enough to handle the transfer between sitting and standing. All three wheelchairs that we've seen today are highly programmable. So they're really complex machines, and that can all be done through the joystick. So there's up to 8 profiles, and what that means is if you've got a new user learning to drive, they might want to be going really slow, well, you could set a profile for that speed so that the client knows at the touch of a button it's predictable, it will go nice and slow, and they know that they can cope with that. But for an attendant using the chair, it might be that's way too slow. So they need an attendant profile that will speed up and they know that they can handle that. I work with children. Often the request is, I want to go faster. So there's often a profile for whether they're in the park or in their PE lesson, or it's wheelchair football, and they need to go as fast as possible. So as long as they can manage that safely, there'll be a profile for that. But not only are there the profiles, but the wheelchairs also memorise positions. So if Brooke demonstrated a lovely stand there, but if she wasn't able to go fully into an upright position, you could set the memory to where she can get to and where feels comfortable for her. It's the same with the tilt, it's the same with the lie. Wherever the client feels most comfortable, that's where you can set the memory, and that's where it will stop. So again, I can't stress enough how these wheelchairs can be made so individual to the client. I'm just going to summarise really by thinking about who I think these wheelchairs suit best. And I think they're for clients that want to be as independent as possible. I think they're for clients that want to be able to mobilise indoors as well as outdoors. That they're clients that want control over their position, the height that they are, and they want to be included socially. I think they're clients that really want to manage their postural difficulties and have that managed over time as things change. And I think that they are clients that want a really supportive, adjustable seating system to suit them the best. We've talked about all three wheelchairs now. I would like to thank Ellen, Brooke and Poppy for demonstrating them so beautifully. I'd also like to thank Smart Wheelchairs for hosting this webinar. And I think, Ken, it's over to you. I was just wondering whether there's been any questions or any queries. I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, Helen. Okay, we got a couple of questions from our audience. Okay, so yeah, the first one, let me, my client has slight knee contracture, and I guess he cannot full extend the knee while standing. Is it still suitable for him to use the standing wheelchair? The knee contractures for one of the clients.
Yes, brilliant question. Really, really good. Like I say, with the standing wheelchair, not all clients can achieve that full upright stand. So with a client with a knee contracture, what you do is you'd set that memory option in the wheelchair just to that angle that they can manage. It might be that the physio is trying to actually stretch out the knee angle, so it might be changing over time, but there wouldn't be any risk of them overstretching or damaging joints and muscles because the wheelchair can be limited to what the client can achieve.
Okay, thanks, Helen. We have another question. We know the EVO Altus have different standing modes. So there is one audience asks, what are the benefits for user to use the standing mode from lay to stand? From lay to stand, what kind is suitable to use this standing mode? Okay,
so Brooke demonstrated the Altus from sitting to standing. I don't, you're fine as you are, don't worry. But what the wheelchair can do is also go from lie flat to standing as well. We didn't demonstrate that just because we've got limited time. The benefits of that just mean, well, you're already in an outstretched position. So just to tilt into a standing position means that you don't have to come into the sitting position and then the standing position. So that just means that you've got reduced friction on the back of the pelvis, and it just eliminates an extra move. It's quicker just to tilt from lying to standing. I think I've heard that it also helps with clients with postural hypertension. So if clients come up too quickly, they can often get dizzy. And I think I've heard that going from lying to standing, because you can do it so gradually, really helps with that difficulty. Hope that answers that question.
So it is like tilting table in the clinic.
Yes, exactly that.
Okay. Okay, so another question is, can mounted, I think that is custom-made seats. Can custom-made seats could be attached to the chair, to these chairs?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there is a full range of postural supports anyway, but if that wasn't to your liking or to suit your needs, then of course, whatever you're used to and comfortable with, that can be interchanged and mounted on the mobile base. No problem at all.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
I think there is another one.
Oh.
So this one talk about the power base of a power wheelchair. So you mentioned about the EVO Lectures and Altus is a front wheel drive, and the MID Lectures is a mid wheel drive. So yes. You talk about the differences in turning radius, but is there any other differences if we want to choose these two different kind of power base? I mean, yeah,
so it's not all about the turn-in circle, although that is a great benefit. The front wheel drive that we can see here, it just powers over those bumps and lumps and curbs and inclines. Because it meets obstacles first, those big wheels, it pulls the chair over. So I would say that a front wheel drive is better equipped for outdoors rough terrain curbs, but it's not to do lack of justice to the mid-wheel drive. The mid-wheel drive will still manage inclines and bumps, but because it's got such a tight turning circle, it is just perfect for new users, new drivers, and indoor use. Does that explain it a bit more?
Yeah, I think it's more clear for audience to choose whether they can choose a front wheel drive or mid wheel drive.
And it's for the client to choose. You know, it's what suits them best. You might, as an OT, I might think I know best, but I don't. It's the client that knows best, and it's what they're comfortable with.
So it's better to let the client to try it of a different power base first.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we got another question. I think this question is about it's more related to a smart wheelchair. So can these parts of service of a wheelchair can be easily accessed? The part and the service of the wheelchair, could it be easy to access?
So if parts need replacing or if things break down, is that?
Yes, I think the question is like that. If we want to replace some parts,
I can only talk from personal experience of working with smart wheelchairs, but I've described them to clients and parents as a can-do company, because I come up with some issues, some problems. Every client is different, as we know, and some clients need really specific options or additions to their wheelchairs. And whenever I ask the question, the answer always seems to be, yeah, we can do that. There is absolutely no problem. So when I think the wheelchairs have a 2-year warranty, so parts and anything that breaks down will be covered in that. But beyond that time, they are at the end of a telephone. And Mike, the product specialist, is super knowledgeable, brilliant with trying to sort wheelchairs out. In fact, I will just give you a quick example. 5 minutes before we were due to go live, Brooke's wheelchair didn't go into standing, and Mike has been working behind the scenes making it work, and as we've just seen, we've had success today. So there's proof in the pudding. They are really technical, they know their stuff, And yes, anything can be repaired or modified without problem.
Yes. Helen, there's one thing. Can you ask the lovely girl to share some feedback about the EVO Altus? How does she feel in the real life?
So Brooke, what they're just asking is, what do you think of this wheelchair?
I had issues where that were always got it put out.
So Brooke's explaining that, yep, it's a machine, it does go wrong, there can be issues with it, but she's just explained it always gets sorted. How has this wheelchair helped you? Has it helped you in school or helped you at home?
It helps me after the operation to stand up again.
To stand up again, yeah. So there you go, it's helped Brooke to stand again. And I haven't seen Brooke for a little while, and I was really impressed coming into this wheelchair. She did a lovely standing transfer. So she's obviously worked hard on her standing, and it's done good for you, hasn't it? And now you can do a standing transfer.
Okay, so it seems very positive feedback from the lovely girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely girl.
So
any other comments or questions?
no, I think some of the audience asks about the price, but I think we can answer it in private. Yeah.
I don't tend to get involved with the price at all, so that's between the clients and Smart Wheelchairs. So I'm afraid I can't offer any answers with the price, I'm afraid.
So Helen, can you share a little about the funding in the UK about this kind of power wheelchairs in UK? Funding information. Yeah.
Any information about these wheelchairs in the UK? I mean, I think really they're just over and above what we expect from wheelchairs. Because I've worked in the NHS for a lot of years, I've been used to what wheelchair services can provide, and not to do them any misjustice, but they're on a tight budget, and really they're only able to offer the bare minimum. And then when I see what high-end wheelchairs can actually offer clients, it's life-changing. It actually means that they can access things a lot easier. It means that they can be included socially so much better. Brooke's off. So what I want is for more clients to have these type of wheelchairs, just because it makes such a difference in their lives.
Okay, thanks, Helen. I think due to the time limit, we are going to end this webinar. And if you have any further question or suggestion, please feel free to email us. And we will also put a recorded webinar video on KARMA Academy, so you can watch it at any time. We will also send you a link with that by mail in the coming days. And if you want to know more detailed information about KARMA's products, you can visit the KARMA UK website. Okay, so finally, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, please take extra care of yourself. We wish everyone can stay safe and healthy. We want to thank Helen and the Smart Wheelchairs for hosting us, and thank for all you are attending. We are looking forward to seeing you next time online. So Helen, let's say goodbye to everyone. Bye-bye, see you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye.